so we're starting truth tables, section 3-3. And our basic truth table is the following. If you have the statement, today is Friday, for example, there are two possibilities for today is Friday. Either it's false or it's true. So I have on here a truth table that has P and it has F and T underneath it. Those are my two possibilities for P. I also have a not P. Hear me on this. If it's a not P, it's always the opposite of what's in the first column here. Okay? So if it's false under P, under not P, it's true. If it's true here, under this, it's false. Okay? So this is just a basic truth table. So I want to look at conjunctions first. And remember that conjunction is an and statement with the caret symbol. And let's look at P, I visited London, and Q, I visited Paris. So if I'm going to put these together, it would be I visited London and I visited Paris. Notice that the first column and second column, we have P's and Q's. And what this is just what combinations I can make of true and false for both of them. You can kind of think of it as two coins that I'm flipping. What are my possible sides of a coin?
Those ones.
What are the possible sides of the coin? Tails and heads. So if I flip two coins, my possible outcomes are heads, 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 tails, tails, heads, or tails, tails, right? Okay, when we're looking at true, false, it's the same thing. I can have true, 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 false, false, true, and false, false. So if I'm looking now, I want to see if I visited London and I visited Paris. Look at the first line. It says that both of them are true. I visited London, I visited Paris. So does that mean that I visited London and Paris, true or not? It is true. Okay?
Very true.
The second row. I visited London, but I did not visit Paris. Therefore, this one's going to be what? False. Good. I did not visit London. I did visit Paris. False again. And I did not visit either one. So that's also false. So the important thing you need to know is this right here. A conjunction is only true if both simple statements are true. Okay, so this has to happen. All right, so a disjunction is an or statement. It's the upside down caret as a symbol. And if I have P or Q, it means that I visited London or Paris or both, because in this class we're doing the inclusive or. Okay? So, looking at my first line, I visited London, I visited Paris, therefore is my P or Q true?
No.
It is true because I did both, right? Okay. I visited London, but I did not visit Paris. So did I visit London or Paris? That is true. I did not visit London, but I did visit Paris. So this would also be true. I did not visit either one.
False.
False. Okay? So the important thing from a disjunction is it is only false if both simple statements are false. Conjunction, you're looking for two true statements. Disjunction, you're looking for false statements. Notice at the top I have two statements. Okay, I have P. It's 3 plus 5 equals 8. And I know this is in math language. It's not in English language right now. But that is still a statement. So if you should see that on a quiz or something, you would still say, if I were to ask you if it's a statement, you would say yes, it's a statement. Okay? So Q is 2 times 7 equals 20. Okay? Now, I want to determine if P and Q are true or false. Is that statement a true or a false statement? So what I'm going to do is think through. Is P a true statement up above? Yes, it's a true statement. Okay? Is Q a true statement? No, it's not a true statement. And remember that because this is a conjunction, it's an and statement. What makes an and statement a true statement? They both have to be true in order for this to be true. And since they are not, this is going to be false. Okay? The next one, we have P and not Q. So is P true? Yes. Is not Q true? Yes. And it's a conjunction of and again. So because of that, they both have to be true. Therefore, this is true. All right? The next one, we have not P. Is not P true? Not P is false. Okay? And Q is also false. We are looking at a disjunction on this one. And when we're having a disjunction, we are looking for two false statements. In this case, they're both false. Therefore, the answer must also be false. Okay? Disjunction is the opposite of conjunction. So a conjunction, we're looking for two true statements. A disjunction, we're looking for two false statements. Two falses on a disjunction is false. Okay? D, we have not P. Not P is false. And not Q is true. It's also a disjunction. And on this case, we have a false and a true. So this one's going to be a true. All right, so when we're looking at truth tables, we're going to start off with a basic table. And it always has a column of P and a column of Q with the obvious combinations that you have there. And then you have an empty column. So that's the first thing that you will always start with. You can always add columns to it. So I want to take the example of it is false that P and Q. Okay, so the first thing I want to look at is what is inside the parentheses, and I'm going to make a column of that. Remember that this is an and statement. So what am I looking for with an and statement?
The 10.
Yep, that's the symbol of it. But what am I looking for with the and statement? I'm looking for the true ones, right? Okay, so they're both true. So this one's going to be what? Nope. True. The only way you can have a true statement with an and statement is if they're both true. The rest will be false. Okay? Now I want to look at the not of this. This is the same as this column, but it's going to be reversed. Okay, so everything here is going to be opposite of what it is on the other column. We want to look at not P or not Q. All right, so if we are looking at not P, I want to put that right here in this column. So what should be my true statements for underneath the not P column? What should be first? False. This is also going to be false. True and true. Okay? I also want to look at a not Q.
Early.
Not Q. We want to look at the Q column and do everything that's opposite of that. So if it's true in this column, it's going to be what in this column? False. Good. All right. It's false here, so it'll be true here. And so on. Okay. Now I want to put both of these together. I have not P or not Q. So I'm looking at these two columns right here, and I'm thinking about the fact that it's an or statement. Because it's an or statement, which ones am I looking for? I'm looking for all true or all false?
True.
Nope.
First one's true.
Okay, yeah, so we want to look for all false with an or statement. And then if they're both false, then this will be false. The rest will be true.
It goes false, true, true, false.
True.
I mean, yeah.
Okay? All right, so the first column we're going to look at is not P. We're going to work our way from the inside of the parentheses out. So if I'm looking at not P, I need to look at this first column and write the opposite in this column. So it will be false, false, true, and true. Okay? Now I want to get not P or Q. Okay? When we're looking at an or statement, we're looking for either two trues or two falses. Which one? Two falses. So here we have our two falses, and that means this one is also going to be false, and the rest will be true. Okay? Now I want to look at not Q by itself.
How come you didn't, why didn't you use not Q and not Q?
Because I'm doing it just in the order that it's in. It doesn't really matter too much, but it just helps me because I have my two columns right next to each other. So let's look at Q. This will be a false, a true, a false, and a true. The last column we're going to do is not P or Q and not Q. So we're looking at this column here and this column here, and we're looking at the and sign. Okay? If we're using an and, we are looking for what? Two things. Either two trues or two falses. Which one?
Two
Trues. Two trues. So we are looking at these ones right here. This will be true on this one. What are the rest going to be? False. Yes. Yeah. The first two columns are given, okay? You always have that. So on this one, we want to look at not P first. Okay, and in this, that means we're going to have false, false, true, and true, because that's the opposite of the first column. Then on this, if I were to do not P or Q, it's an or statement. Therefore, I'm looking for two falses, and they're right here. So this will be a false. Everything else will be true. On these two columns, we're just looking at these two columns right here. Okay, so on this one, if we look, first of all, inside the parentheses, we already have a P. We don't need to do anything with that. But let's look at the not Q. Okay, so if we're looking at not Q, this is going to be false, true, false, and true. Now let's take everything in the parentheses, P and not Q. Being that it's an and, we're looking for two trues. Okay, and we're looking at this column and this column, P and not Q. Okay, so the only place they're both true is here and here. So this would be a true right here. So when you have an and, the only time it can be true is if both are true. The rest have to be false. Now I want to look at not P. So this will be a false, a true, and a true. And I'm going to put the whole thing together now. P and not Q, or not P. So on this one, we are looking at the or. If it's an or, the only way for it to be false is if you have two falses. And we have that right here. So this will be false on top. The rest will be true.
That's confusing because how come on a T and not Q you did T and T but you skipped Q, like don't they have to be in a row?
Because we're looking at just P, that's this one, and not Q, that's this column.
Yeah.
Okay? So that's why we are only, so don't look at this column when you're looking at that. You have to ignore that column. So when you have two trues together, you're going to have a true here.